Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. I want to pick up where I left off with the e-newsletter last Friday. And that had to do with the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem and his visit to Pope Francis in Rome. He's seeking help from the Pope. He said this: "We have come to Rome," the Patriarch says. "We have come to Rome not in our capacity as the Patriarch of one church only, no, but in the name of all the heads of the churches and Christian communities of the Holy Land." Now, he's not speaking for all of them. He's saying he is, but he's not. "We, to whom the pastoral oversight of the Christian communities of the Holy Land have been entrusted. We've been entrusted, have met, and are fully united in opposition to what we see as an attempt to change the provisions and the spirit of the historic status quo." The status quo is that the churches can have their recognition and be able to carry on their ministry without interference from Israel. "The delicate balance that must exist if the Holy Land is to be sustained in its integrity as a region where many peoples can live and flourish and be witnesses to the divine human encounter of which the holy sites are a tangible sign." The Patriarch was referring to recent court rulings in Israel which rejected petitions made by the church regarding land sales and efforts in the Knesset to nationalize properties in Jerusalem that the church wants to sell to private investors. So Israel is stepping in if the church is going to sell its property for non-church purposes. But behind this whole scheme of things, as far as the Patriarch and the people that he's representing, is the recognition, and it's a known fact, that the Greek Orthodox Church, as are most of the non-Protestant churches, and even some Protestant churches, but including the Roman Catholic Church in Jerusalem, are committed historically since the first century to the heresy, the blasphemy of replacement theology, and which basically says that the church is now the new Israel, the church is now the covenant people of God, and God is no longer dealing with Israel. Israel has been replaced, which is blasphemy. And it depicts God as one who has reneged on his covenant promises. Replacement theology, a heresy for sure. In the scriptures, Romans 9 through 11 speaks to this issue with great clarity and unmistakably identifies Israel as a continuing people of God. In Romans chapter 11, written by the Apostle Paul, Romans 9 through 11, chapter 11, verse 1, Paul asks this: "I ask then," he says, "did God reject his people?" That's the question. Has God replaced his people? By no means. And he cites himself as an example. "I am an Israelite myself, a descendant of Abraham from the tribe of Benjamin. God did not reject his people whom he foreknew." Going on down to verse 5, he says, "So too at this present time there is a remnant of Jews who believe in Jesus Christ as Savior and Lord." There is a remnant chosen by grace. There was then and there is now. Paul asked the question again. Verse 11, "Again I ask, did they stumble? Did the Jews stumble so as to fall beyond recovery? Not at all. Rather, because of their transgression, that is the Jews, their rejection of Jesus, salvation has come to the Gentiles to make Israel envious." In his concluding remarks in Romans chapter 11, Paul says this: "I do not want you to be ignorant." He's speaking to those who are ignorant. I don't want you to be ignorant of this mystery, brothers, so that you become conceited. Don't be ignorant. Don't be conceited. Israel has experienced a hardening. The Jews have experienced a hardening until the full number of Gentiles has come in, and so all Israel will be saved. What he's saying is that Gentiles that now believe in Jesus are engrafted, they're included into the Israel of God, and so all Israel will be saved. The remnant that turns to Christ now and in the days ahead, plus the Gentiles who turn to Christ. Verse 29 says, "For God's gifts and his call are irrevocable." He will maintain his promises. He will maintain his integrity. Replacement theology is a blasphemous heresy. It is now, it has been, and it will continue to be throughout eternity. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, until Messiah comes, Yivareka Yahweh. Yahweh bless you, bless those you love, bless those who love you.